there's a new promotional video out by a new interest group that just sort of popped up out of nowhere. Some young people apparently got together. Now, I do think that we have examples of people who are progressive and even socialist on some issues, and then also maybe their religious edicts tell them they're against abortion. I do not think that there is necessarily a contradiction there. The contradiction comes in when you want to impose your religious values on the rest of society.
You want to use the state to enforce them.
Exactly. That said, here is a promotional video for the progressive anti-abortion uprising. And I will say before we play this, I suspect this is going to do as well as Brandon Tarkenton's, whatever, what's that guy's? Brandon Straka's Walk Away campaign. But here it is.
We are feminists,
Black,
Indigenous,
Latinos, people of color,
and white allies.
we are atheist,
Muslim,
Christians, Jewish,
and everything in between.
we are gay,
Straight,
Bisexual.
transgender,
non-binary,
and gender nonconforming.
And we believe
the progressive values of
Equality, nonviolence, and non-discrimination
are incompatible with abortion.
abortion violence is the redistribution of the oppression people of color,
Women, the LGBTQ+ community,
people who can give birth,
and people from low-income backgrounds experience onto an even more vulnerable population.
the unborn.
Pause it for 1 second.
we are standing.
I don't know. Can you explain that to me? It is the redistribution of oppression that is that people, that people who of marginal political power, historically marginal political power in our society, they get that oppression, and it's redistributed onto fetuses and embryos.
Well, basically what they did was they just like took a hat and put a bunch of liberal lefty like Gen Z new buzzwords into it, or Gen X or whatever it is, and they picked it out and they decided that this is how it affects fetuses.
Does that, but I mean, honestly, does that make it, like, I'm trying to understand what that means.
And people from low-income backgrounds experience onto even more vulnerable population. What? I don't know. I'm trying to read some of these captions here.
It's saying all that suffering that you are going to have by carrying this unwanted pregnancy to term, you shouldn't just take that out on the baby by getting an abortion. That's what it's trying to say.
But they're talking about people like who theoretically would not be forced to carry an embryo to birth. I just don't understand how you redistribute oppression.
Well, I mean, I don't know that these are conservatives acting like liberals or the left, but it sounds like people very unfamiliar with these terms.
There's a lot of left is best quality to this, right?
Abortion violence is the redistribution of the oppression of people of color.
So wait a second. If that's true, has there been a diminishment of oppression of people of color since abortion has been legalized?
And who is it?
Is it 1-to-1?
Wait, so more abortion means less oppression of black people and other oppressed groups.
It also seems to imply that oppression is a fixed, static amount of a phenomenon.
Energy.
It's like an energy, and you must dissipate it in some fashion. So what we need to do is take that oppression, redistribute it, and send it maybe into space. Maybe we can get Elon Musk to put it in a mountain. Yeah. All right. Well, let's continue. I'm just trying to figure this out.
Is the redistribution of the oppression people of color,
Women, the LGBTQ+ community,
people who can give birth,
and people from low-income backgrounds experience onto an even more vulnerable population.
The unborn.
Today, we are standing up.
Standing up.
Standing up.
To the democratic establishment and saying no more.
No more.
No más.
No more.
No more.
Black lives.
Here's the other thing that seems a little bit
Lives
weird.
matter.
Here's the other thing that seems a little bit weird. These are progressives who are against or anti-abortion. We know what the numbers are in terms of abortion in this country. It's not the right for a woman to have an abortion is not exclusively in the purview of Democratic voters. There are Republican voters. Like, why are they standing up to the Democratic establishment? Aren't they really against like what over 60% of the American population believes?
Because the
It's just-
Democratic establishment wants to impose abortion on everybody so they can redistribute oppression to give it to everybody else.
I just think that using Democrats interchangeably and Democratic establishment is like another left is best clue.
It's an AstroTurf campaign. This is another thing that we're going to be seeing like in a few months. Oh, this is funded.
Can't they
by-
get somebody decent to write these damn things though? Like, I mean, for God's sakes, if they got a ton of money, send me the thing. I'll do some punch up on the script for you.
I'm sure it's just some like right wing kind of religious organization that has some shady funding that didn't put a ton of thought into it and has no literacy with this kind of language anyway because they aren't on the left and they got a few cranks, young people who may have religious ideology in and of themselves, and they said we'll put together this video for you and we'll elevate your perspective.
These
That's
are
it.
these are religious kids who think they're on the left because they're not like extremely racist, just and misogynistic, like against and anti-gay.
Yeah, but they kind of maybe are.
But they might be, yeah, just relative to who they're surrounded by.
But they use pronouns correctly, so it's totally cool.
Let's continue. And listen, I'm gonna cop to this right now. I'm gonna mention the woman who purports to be Muslim. She may be, but that's just an odd. I don't know what's going on there with that in that one. But
She
let's
looks
just-
like she's 37.
Well, I mean, she may not be. I don't know if she's. It's just something like
Little, yeah.
There's something a little bit
Something
weird.
off about a couple of these. Folks,
Yeah, but go
actually.
ahead.
This is like the nightmare blunt rotation.
All right, but
Standing up. Standing up.
The democratic establishment and saying no more.
No more.
No más.
No more.
No more.
Black lives matter.
Trans rights are human rights.
Love is love. And let the unborn live.
Abortion has no place in the progressive movement.
El futuro es pro vida.
We are the progressive anti-abortion uprising, and we will not be silent.
We will not be silenced.
We will not be silenced.
The pro-life revolution begins now.
Comienza ahora ya.
Begins now.
this is like classic reactionary talk, right? Like the beginning of oppressing women's right to choose begins now, finally.
And you all want to censor and silence us.
We're starting this now. Well, this is a revolution where women don't get to decide what to do with their bodies. For decades and centuries, we have been oppressed by women's right to say, how they live their lives and what the economic interest of their and the trajectory of their lives are going to be. And we are done with it. No more.
Yeah. Too much youth group energy there, honestly.
Let's go back to the lady. Now look, I'm hesitant to do this because I know people are going to focus like, what? But I just think there's a weird energy
about the
I thought
the lady
I had
looks
to go
like a
back.
mannequin?
Yes,
Yeah.
you're right, because I honestly had to go back and see like what was her identity, because the second time she says like we will not be silenced or something like that, I'm sorry to say this, but I got Handmaid Tale vibe.
That's exactly what I got. I was like, wait a second, is she like one of those people who work at like Old Sturbridge Village who comes out and is like, hey, we're going to be churning the butter today, but they thought I was a witch. Like, I'm sorry. Like, just go because like
She was allowed out because she was able to do this video, so she did the most of it. I'm outside for the
I guess.
And also, go back.
I guess that's a keffiyeh that she's wearing.
Go back even further to the LGBT
Underneath.
guy sign, because this guy says I'm a Christian, but he has the big LGBT signs. A little bit further, I think it's just a guy. It's the dude. If you can scroll, he's holding the sign. Well, it's somewhere in there. Maybe it's after. It might be after. It's the kid who says I'm a. Actually, it's after her because maybe it's right before. It's actually right. I don't know. Just play it. Play it there. That's good.
Onto an even more vulnerable population.
The unborn.
Today, we're standing up.
Right at the beginning.
Yeah. So there's one kid that says I'm a Christian.
Yeah.
Just play it.
We are feminists.
Black.
Indigenous. Latinos. People of color.
And white allies.
We are atheist,
Muslim.
Christians, Jewish,
And everything in between.
Christians.
It's Christians, but he's holding up the LGBT stuff, so it's like not the hateful kind, though. But yeah.
LGBT and Democrat standing for life.
But he says Christians. That's right after this. She says the Muslim.
LGBT plus Democrat standing for life. With the American flag there too. I like
Look,
that.
kids, you can be against abortion personally in your life. Just don't advocate for the state to enforce your beliefs, and you're still welcome. But also stop making videos.
But the revolution begins now. It begins now. And what that means is we'll do 1 or 2 viral videos at the behest of this shady moneyed organization. And I'll get to feel like I contributed something to society with my wacky and consistent beliefs. And the church group's going to love it. And that's the revolution.
That's so strange. That's such a strange ad.
I like how, though, you assume that woman was like both Amish and Muslim.
I take her word that she's Muslim and she has a keffiyeh on and a hoodie. It's just like she had a weird energy about it.
It's a bit jarring. Yeah.
I guess my point is this: is that like you're trying to assemble a crew of people. Like even if I give them the complete benefit of the doubt that this is, completely organic. I'm sure these people are, feel this way. It would be impossible for me to imagine you wouldn't be able to find 10 people similarly situated who were against abortion. I just feel like put your best foot forward. And I just, I feel like you could have found someone to represent Islam, who might be like just not have such weird energy going on.
Yeah,
that's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. I'm trying. This is like a. This I'm trying to do constructive criticism
of the PSYOP.
Of the PSYOP.
Yeah, right. Of the basement level D- Christian group PSYOP. You got to do it like the CIA does it. You have to pour your resources into it if you're going to make sure it's effective.
Yeah, this was the demo punk rock version of this woke CIA.
Yeah, right, exactly. It's the B-side.
Folks, there's more of what you've just saw where that came from. That's if you hit the subscribe and like button. Thank you. Really, thank you.